Hello, world, and welcome back to the podcast that the brothers blew.
Yeah.
It's funny, I haven't even started drinking really yet. But anyways, we're trying to get our podcast off the ground. It's called With That Being Said. Um, we are having another episode this week. We're going to try to keep up on a weekly routine. And we're going to have just random different topics. Like we need to have another Hot Ones episode because we need to do hot wings. Last week we talked about abortion. We talked about echo chambers, all kinds of stuff. This week we will be talking about balkanization. And so to get started, that's Brother Kyle.
And that is Brother Cody. And to start the topic of balkanization, I will just read the Google definition. I don't want to share my screen or anything like that. So balkanization is the process of a large country or region breaking up into smaller, often hostile political units. The term is often used to describe the result of ethnic, cultural, religious, or geopolitical differences. And I feel like that is kind of the first part of the definition that I really wanted to talk to you about is that I actually can't think of any examples where partitions, borders have been redrawn, or like balkanization has happened that has been peaceful. So the example I wanted to bring up was the partition of India, which after Britain was like, all right, you guys can be independent, India and Pakistan were like, all right, we're gonna have the Pakistan for the Muslims and India for the Hindus. And it was supposed to be like a peaceful thing, but it ultimately resulted in death marches.
Dude,
And
India and Pakistan hate each other to this day.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this
So
this
yeah, that
idea of
didn't work.
balkanization happening on peaceful terms is, I think, something that we could first agree on. It probably won't happen.
And so I think the reference that it also makes in later in the definition it kind of refers specifically to the hostility related to the term balkanization or
Yeah.
being involved in its definition
Yeah.
because of what happened with the Ottoman Empire, which is called balkanization. Yeah, I'm sorry, there was a lot of ethnic, cultural, and religious differences going on there.
Yeah. In a geographic region like the size of Georgia, you have Serbs, Romanians, uh, Hungarians, and seven other Czechs, seven other ethnic groups. And these are all white people too. It's hilarious. And it's also, again, in a geographic region about the size of Georgia where
Yeah.
balkanization took place. And that's what we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
like balkanization etymologically comes from the Balkan Peninsula.
Right. That's why it's called what it's called. We talked
Exactly.
about that, just like we talked about the Iberian Peninsula and things like that and stuff like that. Um, Shit, I forgot. Yeah, it's funny because, oh yeah, I think a fun term or just something that's funny, and I actually said this out loud the other day at work, because I live and work in Pittsburgh, so we deal with a lot of ethnic white people.
Yeah. Well,
So that's just a fun term. Like ethnic white people, what's that? Serbian, Austrian, Croatian. That's
in
what an
Pittsburgh,
ethnic
you have
white
a lot
person.
of German Americans.
Yeah,
There's a
German and
huge
Polish.
German, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
influence in Pittsburgh.
yes. You're right. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Those are
So
also ethnic white people.
yes, they are. Dude,
Right,
this is
exactly.
what's so funny is people talk about the immigration problem
Oh
and
man,
nativism and being what's funny
we're
is
all
that
German.
100 years ago the immigration issue was essentially other white people coming to America.
Right. Yeah.
The Irish, the Germans, the Italians, people that, were undesirable. And it's just so funny that, like, it's just like you said, ethnic white people. They're literally like being racist against white people. It's like they're the same as you. Like, it's like British or English people hating on Irish people. It's like, wow, dude, you're like this far from each other. But yeah.
Right. It's like that one comedian who's like, "Oh, you think you're in America? Zoom out."
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, it's Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes says that.
Yeah, Pete Holmes is great.
All
So,
right, you can keep going.
yeah, what that brings me to is my next point is the constitutionality of it is, I think, and I again, like, I should have done more research on this aspect of it, is that when the southern states seceded,
They
Abraham
broke the
Lincoln deemed it
Constitution.
unconstitutional.
They broke the rule of the Constitution.
There's
Right.
nothing in the Constitution that says states have the right to secede.
So that's
That's
what I
what
was
he
going to
was
say.
saying. Yeah.
The constitutionality does not exist. It's not a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be, first of all, what we call a constitutional crisis,
Crisis, correct, right.
which is kind of what we're facing right now with Trump and his federal charges.
Can we talk more
It's
about that at
literally,
some point?
yeah, we'll come back to that. Sorry, what?
No, that's all I was saying. I want to talk about the constitutional crisis that we might be coming up to with Trump pardoning himself. So
Cool.
yeah, I'd like to talk more about that at a different time.
Yeah, I'm glad you were on the same page as me, because
It's
again,
crazy. It's like,
that's
well,
a whole and that was what Lincoln was basically saying, is that, like, we're in a constitutional crisis and we
yeah,
have
right,
to, the states, there is nothing in the Constitution about the states' right to secede. Really,
correct.
the only thing in the Constitution about states' rights is in the 10th Amendment, which essentially lays out the, like,
Things the
system
state
of
can do.
federalism, where you have state governments and federal governments, and
Right.
federal law essentially supersedes state
Supersedes.
law.
Yep, got it.
But
Yep.
states can pass whatever they want. So
No,
again,
yeah.
like, you'd have to break the Constitution, and that right there, I think there would be violence.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Sorry, it took me a long walk to get. That's really what I was saying, is that, like, I don't think anybody is violating the Constitution without violence and occurring, and that's ultimately what happened in the Civil War.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to just cruise past constitutionality, but unless you have it, and that's the thing, is like, if you follow the Constitution, which most of our states actually do,
Yeah,
there's no way for that to happen.
yeah, okay. And so I didn't mean to, like, what I'm really trying to get at is, like, obviously I don't think either of us are going to come up with an example of balkanization happening peacefully, but do you think it could happen?
Like, if okay, so
Yeah.
we're eventually going to get to what, and see, this is what I think is, if you don't want to call it the opposite of balkanization, then the map that I drew could more, maybe better be described as regionalization. So sorry, I forgot what your question was.
Well, we had an exact definition in balkanization, and I feel like I would need a definition. Do you have one? No? And if you don't, that's totally fine.
A definition of balkanization?
Regionalization.
Oh, no. No,
Yeah.
actually.
Because
Yeah,
again, it's like, yeah, I understand what you, because you're taking 50 states and turning it into less than that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And that's why I said previously it's like the opposite of balkanization,
it totally
because
is.
balkanization would take the 48 states and turn it into 70, like that
Yeah.
dude said, right?
Well, and with Balkanization, just one example, uh Czechoslovakia is now the Czech Republic and the
And
independent Republic of Slovakia.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's the definition of Balkanization. Like
Well, and like,
that
what's
happened on the
Yugoslavia
Balkan
now?
Peninsula where one country turned into two.
Sorry, I'm asking you
Sorry.
because I know you'll know. What's Yugoslavia now?
Serbia, Bosnia, and like Yugoslavia further balkanized in that it's like 5 or 6 different countries, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
I feel bad because I should have that map in front of me. Damn it.
Yeah.
I feel like I do, but I don't.
No, what's crazy is mom lived over there. Yeah.
Yeah, so Bosnia, Sir, yeah, Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, Albania, Kosovo, all of those used to be Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia was supposed to be the independent Slavic Republic.
So this is how
Look
I
out.
know. This is how I remember that mom lived in Croatia, because it's the other,
No,
right? Yeah.
she lived in
No.
Kosovo.
Oh, I thought it was Croatia, not Kosovo. Never mind.
There's
Because those are
there's
the
really
two that start with a K phonetic sound.
in most of those European nations, there's one big city. And for
Yes.
some reason, I know the big city in Kosovo, it's called Pristina. And that's where mom lived. And the
Right.
thing about Kosovars is most of them are Albanian ethnically. So yeah, it's like, dude, the ethnic
So
white people,
stupid.
yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's all so stupid.
Thank you. Like, yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to talk about maps, I definitely can go
Yeah.
there.
Well, because that is actually a good segue because I was just talking about what Yugoslavia turned into geographically. But we want to talk about the proposals, the maps that might occur if balkanization happened in America. There we go.
So sorry. I was listening to what you were saying. But just for the viewers, or for the one viewer out there, I'm gonna push my mic away.
Yeah, and get it close. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do different regions too. So like there's the western part, whatever, blah blah blah. And then also I'm gonna put a picture of this in the description. I'll take a nice picture of it and it'll be
Nice.
good. Um, do you think I should start on the west or the east?
I mean, the East, that's where it all started.
Yeah,
Colonization,
good point.
baby.
Um, so then if we're gonna start over there, um, yeah, I'll just start at the top. And so
Hold
like,
on. It's
yeah,
all
go ahead.
Ohio.
What's that?
It's all Ohio.
Right, exactly. The center part of America is all Ohio, so we might as well just call it that.
Let's just get that out of the way. Sorry.
All of America.
Yeah, is
That's not
synonymous
on
with
the
Ohio.
coast. That's not on the coast is from Ohio.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I had to.
So I call this area New England.
Yeah. And so that's like Maine. Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island.
Yeah. I love it. That is, I'm because again, like I'm looking at my map and that, well,
I
and
just
like
said it. I know. Sorry.
the thing I think that is ultimately going to reduce violence the most is if this sucks, look at voting patterns. And
Mm.
all of those states that you just mentioned vote pretty similarly.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I'll say the next section down is called New York, and it includes the two main things are the state of New York
In Pennsylvania.
and Pennsylvania.
I like that too.
I hate my state. We gave the presidency to Donald Trump, and
I'm glad
our
you're
senator
acknowledging that.
flipped from Bob Casey to the worst person on the planet.
Yeah,
I hate it here.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is almost the reason Donald Trump won. So yeah,
exactly. So New York includes New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and that's it actually.
And okay, hold on. This is what I like the cultural argument that I want to make at some point is that like I like the idea of New York and Pennsylvania culture mixing and like yeah, right? Yeah, like I am
Love
down
it.
for that. Like because I've 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 been to upstate New York, I've been to New York City, I've been to Niagara Falls, I've been to Pittsburgh. I have not been to Philly, but like
We've never been. I haven't either.
yeah, so exactly, like literally all those places. You haven't been to upstate. Well, no,
No. Oh yeah, no, I
Niagara
went.
is
Yeah, I did. I
Niagara's
went to
upstate New York.
Niagara.
Yeah. I went to Rochester too, like just weird. So yeah, I went to Rochester, Buffalo, New York City, and Pittsburgh, and I'm just like culturally the only place that really felt different was New York City. I've talked about this. It's like another planet when you go to
Yeah.
New York City,
Right.
but the rest of the state, I felt was like, yeah, Pennsylvania and New York. I feel like that would be a good merger. Sorry.
I totally agree with you and have no problem with you getting there.
Yeah.
So the next one, and actually, this is the other thing. I'll pat myself on the back. I gave them all good names. So we went over
Yeah.
New England, and we just did New York, which includes Pennsylvania, New York, and Jersey. The next one I have is called the Atlantic States, and yeah, so
Oh, sorry.
Atlantic States.
I'm dealing with the animal.
Yep. No,
Sorry.
you're good. So Atlantic States midway down, right? So it's both of the Virginias, East Virginia and South Virginia.
Yeah. And North Virginia.
Right. And then Maryland and Delaware. Oh, and North Carolina, because fuck North Carolina.
Again, yeah. Feel like you're kind of nailing it here.
I know I am.
like it's like I'm glad we started on the East Coast because obviously I will probably agree on the West Coast stuff, but like yeah, and it goes in line with like the voting thing I was talking about. Yeah, except for Delaware. Except for Delaware.
I think my version of regionalization inadvertently took into account voting patterns
And
like
culture.
you think would hold true, right?
Yeah. It's also bleeding into culture. Like that's
right. Yep.
It's like
so
the DM.
Then the next state is New Georgia, which
you know
I
moved
moved to
Hold
New
on.
Georgia.
I think this is important before we move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Washington, D.C.
Ooh, yeah, there. That's in the Atlantic states, of course.
But you just exactly before we moved on.
Right.
That's kind of important.
The nation's capital has moved.
It's where the movie Civil War fucking ends.
Didn't it used to be New York City at one point?
They proposed Philadelphia.
No, Philly was the capital.
No, New York was the capital. And they were like, are we going to make it Philly or somewhere else? And it was a whole compromise.
Yep.
I won't get into it, but ultimately.
I'm sure you know it better than I do, probably.
Yeah, they like Washington, D.C. was viewed as south of like
Got it. Yep.
It was supposed to quell
even though it's not
Southern
real.
concerns about where the national capital was, because if
Right.
it was in Philadelphia, it would have been, elitist and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm sorry that I did not do a lot of thinking about the nation's capital when it came to this exercise.
I'm glad you just let me mention it. We can move on. I'm sorry.
So
It's
yeah,
like I
again,
feel like
the
it's
next
important.
state is well named. It's called New Georgia,
Yeah. Ugh. And it's Georgia and South Carolina.
and that's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Be a perfect state. I would move there tomorrow.
Actually, I would too.
Dude, seriously, I would move there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Florida,
Is it Outer Banks in South Carolina?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So Florida, I have an intimate relationship with. You know that, right?
Yes.
I
Slightly.
love and hate Florida. My son was born there. I met my ex-wife there. It was some of the best 4 years of my life.
But so on your map, is it by itself? Sorry.
No, Florida is divided in half, but on like a diagonal to where Miami and Naples are in South Florida, and then there's North Florida. So there's
Like
two states.
Orlando in Tallahassee.
Oh shit. Yeah, I need to go a little further north for South Florida. But either way, yeah, it's like this. And there's so like the panhandle of Florida. No, thank you.
No, thank you. Exactly.
The people,
Florida, Georgia,
everything.
like Florida, Georgia border is supposed to be like not nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next part that I have, should I start up top? Yeah, we'll start up top again. So over from the New England area, I have the better Midwest because these
Is that what
states
it's
are
called? Better
Midwestern.
Midwest?
Yep, the better Midwest because these states are better than the other four that I'm going to mention in the shitty Midwest.
Okay.
So the good Midwest has Michigan and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Michigan's a great. I would live on Lake Michigan or Lake Superior. Yeah. So the lakes are awesome in Michigan. They're also awesome in Wisconsin. And then Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. That's the weird part that I included them in the better Midwest because Illinois, yes, Indiana and Ohio, no. But I'm not gonna like do stupid shit and break up this big region and yeah. And oh, you know what? I could lump Ohio and Indiana together and just call it Ohio. That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
That's
what I'm doing.
Exactly. So you're talking about changing the Florida thing. That would be, yeah, just put
Yep.
Indiana and Ohio together because they both fucking suck.
And then
I
the
will be
better
on camera
Midwest.
saying that.
And then the better Midwest consists of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Illinois.
100%. Chicago,
Yep.
Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit. Cleveland's Ohio.
I'm looking at Wisconsin and I've always thought this like UP Michigan, Upper Peninsula Michigan is basically Michigan saying to Wisconsin. Like, why is that not part of Wisconsin, right?
It's the most insane thing that's ever existed when it comes to geography.
Like the non-contiguous stuff.
I just don't even get it.
Yes, Upper Peninsula Michigan is literally just Michigan being like, we don't want to be Wisconsin. Yeah, it's.
I wish I could show how close it is. It's like Michigan touches the Upper Peninsula by this much.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin touches it by this much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this and then like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the border between Wisconsin and Michigan is large. Yeah.
So just below that, and actually what will be below my New Ohio, is Tennessee. And so again, I've driven through these states. Tennessee was the most beautiful state I've ever been in.
Wait. So are you saying you left it alone?
No, I put them together. Kentucky and Tennessee.
Oh,
I called
yeah.
it Tennessee.
I've also not heard good things about Kentucky.
It's not the greatest.
Yeah. Like even people from Ohio make fun of people from Kentucky. Yeah.
Right. So I haven't been to Louisville, but I've been to Cincinnati, and they're like twin cities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cincy was cool for an Ohio city.
I like cities. We've talked about this before.
But like Youngstown is not great. Akron is not great. Yeah. So Ohio has some bad fucking places.
Yeah. But well, I feel like I don't hear anything good about Kentucky, but that's all.
You're probably not wrong. What I'll say is it borders Tennessee. It's pretty much the same state. And like, yeah, dude. Oh,
No, you're right.
You know what? The good things that you probably hear about Tennessee is Nashville and Memphis. Like, those are two awesome cities.
And so what I feel like you're kind of saying is also it's just like they should just be the same state. Like, why are they just not the same state?
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I agree entirely. Cheers.
I just took a shot of gin without chasing it. I thought I should let you know. But anyways, the very bottom of that part is the South. And so it's Mississippi and Alabama, but their border goes like halfway into Georgia.
Okay.
Just to give them space.
Why is Louisiana not part of this? I guess you're gonna get to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's go back up to the top. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, can you show me? I was like, I feel like not.
Right,
No,
so
no, let's go down and show me what you just covered. Is it New Kentucky or is it just Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Read it. Tell me what it is.
Tennessee.
Tennessee is just called Tennessee.
With a K at the beginning. God damn it.
Tennessee. Sorry, I can't see it.
Isn't that phonetically genius, though?
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I love you. You're exactly right. And like,
so just below Tennessee, sorry, is the South.
The South.
Yeah, right. And so the South is Alabama, Mississippi, and into Georgia.
And now you're going back to the North. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And so at the North, I have next the Dakota Territory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one's simple. The two Dakotas and Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Boom. Let's keep going.
Even like right now, why is Dakota two states? But
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then next I have the Midwest, what I just called the Midwest, and it's Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri.
Yeah. All this is just making more sense. Like, yeah.
And just below that is the worst name one that I have. It's Arkanoma. Because again, it's like, why are Arkansas and Oklahoma separate states? They don't need to be.
It's also good that you put Mississippi and Alabama together. It's like they're pretty much the same state. Yeah.
Why are they two states? Exactly. Yeah. It's so dumb.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
So then the bottom part of East Texas, which includes Louisiana, so they get awesome cities like Baton Rouge and New Orleans.
Yeah.
And East Texas also has Dallas and Houston. Boom, bitch.
Yeah, that's Houston is one of the biggest cities in America. It's fucking yeah. Houston, I
Top
would like
five.
to go to Houston.
Yeah, top
But
five.
you know what? We have a minute to go, so we're gonna have to do a part two.
That's actually just fine because we
Yeah.
have the West Coast to do.
All right. So why don't you close us out?
Cool. So, people, that's balkanization. And, with that being said,
Knowledge is power.